A warm welcome to all of you and a heartfelt namaste. I, Anuradha, would like to thank all of you for liking, sharing, subscribing to our YouTube channels and Spotify channels also. Thank you so much for writing in your comments and your suggestions. Generally, I do not talk much about a politician's chart or look into politics too much. But with the kind of serious situation that is building up, and with my ongoing research on Atmakarak, I happen to have a good look at Putin's chart and see as to how this war came into being and how it is going to unfold further. Atmakarak has a very strong presence in the chart because as per BPHS, it tells us the reason why we are born. And I wanted to share this research with all of you. Chapters 34 and 35, two whole chapters of BPHS are dedicated to Atmakarak. So, taking up Vladimir Putin's chart and looking into the reasons why the Russian-Ukraine war is taking place, I decided to put forward my research to all of you. Having a good look here on this chart. Let's see the basics. The Atmakarak here is Jupiter, and Jupiter is retrograde and is in Bharani Nakshatra. If we take the houses of Jupiter, they are the second house and they are the fifth house. So the second house is all about being practical. The second house is all about having a moral stand. And the fifth house is all about your valor, your power, and your emergency crisis, the way you handle crisis as such. Jupiter, as per Uttar Kalamrita, is very well placed in the sixth house because the sixth house, which is the house of the Ripu or the enemy, and Jupiter being there gives you an insight on how to handle the enemy. The retrograde Jupiter is stronger still because it gives you a very strong gut feeling right from within and helps you find a way to deal with the enemy. Now, Mars, which is the Lagna Lord also and the sixth Lord, is in house of Jupiter, and Jupiter is in the house of Mars. So there is a very strong connect between Mars and Jupiter. What more, Jupiter aspects Mars. As per Laghu Parashari, this shows a very strong sambandh. And these two planets being friends, will always end up helping each other because they are in 1-9 axis to each other. Having said that, Jupiter is in the nakshatra of Bharani. Bharani talks about Apabharana Shakti, that is the ability to remove things that are not needed. Definitely, none of us need our enemies. And more so, it is always just. It will never give you a reason of doing things without a cause, without the right to do it. And Mars is in Mula Nakshatra. Mula is going deep down into reasoning. Mula is trying to find out what is important, how things have to be done, and how things can be processed now. And also to dig facts out. It talks about secrecy also. If I am to connect the Jupiter and Mars with the 2-6 connect, it is giving me practicality. It is giving a lot of insight into what is going on. And it is definitely got to do with work and money. Let's not forget, Vladimir Putin was the head of the KGB. Mars gave him the ability to go deep, research, and become a warrior par excellence. When we're talking about the Atmakarak, which is Jupiter, in the sixth house, it tells you very clearly you're born to work and strategically remove your enemies from your life. His enemies are definitely the enemies that he considers are the enemies of his country. Mars is also aspecting the fifth house, which is the house of Jupiter, so there's a very strong connect in the D1 chart itself that we can see. Let's take it to the D9 chart because that is from where we have to pay special attention to the Atmakarak, because herein the concept of Karakamsha comes in. And in the 35th chapter of the BPHs, Parashar Rishi has very clearly mentioned that when there is a connect of Mars with the Atmakarak, then the person becomes very proficient in the use of weapons and knows very well how to deal with the enemies. Atmakarak Jupiter here is in the 5th house, again the house of Mars. And what more? Now in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio, we all know, is a sign that has one of the greatest memories in the zodiac. These people do not go against others unnecessarily. They do not waste their energies. When somebody hurts them intentionally, then they know how to deal with these people, and for that matter, at an appropriate time. When the Lord of that sign, Mars, aspects this sign, it makes them fearless warriors. And here we see that Jupiter is aspected by Mars, which is the Lord of the sign, and it's a direct aspect. As per BPHS, as per all the other texts, that makes him a fearless warrior. It gives him a foresight to remember things. It gives him a foresight to plan things out strategically and go ahead with it. Now, all this done and said, let's see how long this war is likely to continue and for how long things are going to work out. Now, if you are to take the transit chart of this this month, now if you are to take the transit chart of 29th of April, when we are going to see a lot of changes, because Rahu will have changed signs, Jupiter will have changed signs, and Saturn. So Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, and Jupiter, four major planets will have changed signs. I'm going to the chakra analysis, and I'm going to superimpose the Rasi chakra, that is the natal chart, with the transit chart. Having done that, I'll see that on the 6th house, there is Rahu and Sun sitting, and Saturn and Mars are aspecting the 6th house. Mars aspecting because Mars is not a direct aspect. So obviously the enemies will try to contain their own house, not that they won't, but then with so many malefics aspecting the 6th house, the enemy will not be able to withstand that kind of pressure, and it will have to collapse at a certain time. The thing is that he will have to hold the fort for nearly 1.5 months now, and if he is able to do that, he will be able to have one up over his enemies. Once having said all of this, I'd also like to tell you that if you can look into the nakshatra of the D9, and you see that Jupiter is placed in Jyeshtha nakshatra. What more? Mars, which is directly opposite the Atmakarak Jupiter in Jyeshtha, is placed in Kritika. There can be no warrior like one in Kritika. If you go back to my JPEGs, I've always said it makes Mars in Kritika makes you an excellent warrior, and Jupiter in Jyeshtha makes you a king with a plan in head. A formidable combination. So let's watch out for the month of May and see how the entire thing plans out. Till we meet with you again, stay tuned. Don't forget to read your Atmakara and what all its aspects you. Don't also forget to understand your Karakamsha, because it gives you a great insight into the reason why you're here. Past life matters, but what matters more is what are you going to do here in this lifetime. Till we meet with you, stay tuned.
Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.